Meet Casey. She decided that it's finally time to take control of her health. She got a gym membership, bought all the right supplements, planned her meals, had a killer morning routine in place, even posted on social media about her new lifestyle. She promised herself she'd stick to all of it, and she did for a few weeks. But within the month, the alarm was snoozed, she missed the morning routines, she skipped workouts, and reclaimed some of her time by getting takeout instead of her home-cooked meals. She's left feeling stumped, wondering why was it so easy to get started, but maintaining everything just keeps getting harder. This became the cycle until she reached the point where she just gave up on everything entirely. If Casey's story sounds familiar to you, then perhaps you can relate to being in what's called a health rut. If you're tired of lost time, uneaten health foods that spoil in your fridge, or wasted gym memberships, I'm going to share practical bioharmonizing tips to help you break free from that health rut and build habits that actually last. These aren't complicated or overwhelming steps. They're realistic, actionable tweaks that fit into your lifestyle and set you up for long-term success. If you're ready to finally get back on track and create the healthier version of yourself, hit that bell icon and let's get started. One of the very first things I recommend to people looking to recover from a health rut is to start the morning right. For more ideas and inspiration on the different ways of doing that, check out my video on the optimal morning routine for high performance. I'm a huge fan of morning walks. That's because they're not very daunting as compared to a large, strenuous workout. They work well with the cortisol and hormonal state of early morning. If done outdoors, morning walks expose you to natural light, even on cloudy days, which is enough to shut down the sleep hormone melatonin's production and to prepare your body for daytime. Morning walks also help oxygenate the brain, they improve circulation, they help with lymphatic drainage to support immunity and natural detoxification. If you're doing it in close proximity to nature, you're getting to enjoy some of the powerful bioactive substances within clean air. There are stress-relieving natural geometric patterns called fractals. You get a little extra weight and fat loss because you're moving in a low insulin state. And with the next tip, you're also getting to drive hydration deep throughout your fascia and bodily tissues. If you do nothing else, at the very least add a short morning walk into your daily routine. Next up, and chronologically ahead of the morning walk, would ideally be hydrating. I'm talking deep cellular hydration. And just drinking plain old tap water is not gonna cut it, because true hydration requires the presence of abundant minerals. Minerals make just about everything in the body work better. You can certainly get some minerals, mostly sodium and chloride, but also some trace minerals from a clean, high quality salt. But if you have the ability, definitely add a high quality multi-mineral supplement into your water, or at least consume it alongside your water. That really lays the foundation for everything in your body to work more effectively. 8 ounces of water with some quality salt and minerals goes a very long way. If I could only take one supplement, it would likely be a multi-mineral supplement. You can also use other substances such as shilajit, which naturally contain 80 to 85 minerals and trace minerals, all in their most absorbable ionic form. So right there alone, you have a powerful 1-2 combination of remineralizing yourself and going outside for a little stroll. Next up is something I consider somewhat of a cheat code to get out of a health rut, and that is nootropics, aka brain supplements. Now, unlike a lot of supplements where you don't really know if they're actually doing anything, if they're working, if they're gonna make a difference, most high quality nootropics you can feel within minutes. These can do things like boost your energy, motivation, willpower, creativity, logical thinking, mental clarity, focus, and a whole lot more. If you're in a rut, it means that one or more of those is likely lower than it could be. Especially in the short term, this can give you an added little boost that you need to build those new healthy habits and integrate them long enough in your routine to make them stick. It generally takes some time to find the exact right product that fits your biochemistry and your neurochemistry, but once you do, it's a total game changer. I've written a ton of articles on nootropics, so if you want to check those out and find one of the products that will work for you, go ahead and look in that description box below. On the subject of biohacks, I also like to work on improving your living and working environments. You see, the environment you're in, between the light, the air quality, the water, the electrosmog, non-native EMFs, these all impact your biology around the clock without you even knowing it. Some simple tweaks, such as upgrading your light source or improving any air filtration you have, can make it so that you wake up with just a little more energy, just enough to accomplish some of those things that you've been putting off. The environmental upgrades, whether it's your home office, your car, your bedroom, any of these environments, they generally have a one-time upfront cost and then perhaps occasional maintenance costs. But aside from that, it's doing all the heavy lifting, the work in the background without you having to do anything. So now you've remineralized, gone for a walk, perhaps used a nootropic to take it up a level, you're in a pristine environment. Now, when it comes to getting out of a health rut, it can be really helpful to have a list of the habits that you want to work on. Once you have that list of the habits you want to continue, what I found incredibly helpful is, initially at least, to have reminders set up on my phone or calendar events, or however you want to do it, to insert a trigger into your day to make sure that these habits don't just slip your mind. Next up, if they do slip your mind, it's to get back on the wagon and to reset as quickly as possible. Slipping and forgetting to follow through on a habit is completely normal. There's nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong with you. And in fact, slipping up every once in a while can even be healthy because it makes it easier to discern what exactly is the benefit that this habit is giving me. And if you've been doing it for a while and it's not yielding good results, perhaps you want to tweak it. If you're in a health rut and you're not following through on the goals you set out for yourself, one of the smart things to do is to really break down the size of this habit you're trying to instill. If you can't get in the full 10-minute routine, perhaps you just do a minute or two. That way you'll feel better about yourself and you'll continue wiring the same neurological pathway to make it easier in the future. Something is always better than nothing, no matter how short. This next tip I've found makes creating new habits a lot easier, and that is to focus on adding new things, however small, instead of removing. So if you're trying to eat healthier, for example, instead of removing all the junk food, it's to start with a more satiating and filling food, such as something that's rich in protein or in dietary fiber. When you add rather than subtract, you won't feel that same sense of deprivation, and the byproduct of eating more of those filling foods is that you won't have hunger afterwards to binge on that junk food. Perhaps the very biggest lever you can pull to get out of a health rut is something entirely different, and that is accountability. Now, if you have the means, you could hire a coach. That's the very best way to stay accountable to whatever your new habit is. You could also join a group or a club that revolves around a particular habit. Or at the very least, you can have a friend or a family member check in with you to make sure you're on track. For certain things, you can also enlist the accountability support of modern technology. For example, my smart ring will tell me how I've slept the previous night. So if I'm deciding between staying up a bit later or going to bed, knowing that I'm gonna have a low score if I stay up late on this makes me a little more inclined to actually follow through and prioritize my sleep. Similarly, I'm currently wearing a continuous glucose monitor, and I know that my food choices will show up as data points in my app. And just merely knowing that makes me more inclined to avoid the junk and to focus on higher quality foods instead. There are lots of different ways of increasing accountability when it comes to building habits, and those are just a few of them. If you have any other great ideas, go ahead and drop a comment below because we can all benefit from them. Getting back on track with your health can certainly feel impossible. With the tips we've covered here today, you're now well equipped to reset and build a routine that works for you. If you want more on this topic, I've recorded a number of podcast episodes, which I will put in the description for this video. So start where you are and keep moving forward. You've got this. Till next time, be an outlier.